So, baby, I'm really excited about today's podcast.
I am too. I have a feeling we're going to get a little tired because we're going to be all over the place today.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about some of the top RVD picks of campgrounds in the United States.
Yes, these are some of our favorite picks from 2024 and before.
So put your seatbelts on.
Because here we go.
Did you know that 46 million Americans plan to take an RV trip in the next 12 months? 90% of recreational vehicle owners take 3 or more mini vacations every year. Welcome to the RV Destinations Podcast. If it's RV travel, we're talking about it. From campgrounds to museums to national and state parks, kayaking and hiking opportunities. One of the most fun and pleasurable things you can do is just hit the road. So be ready to be inspired. Welcome in to the RV Destinations Podcast. Now your host, President Randy Beheimer and Editor-in-Chief, Caly Beheimer.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the RV Destinations Podcast. We are here, and we're excited to be here. We're in the new Allegro bus, the 2023 45 FP that we're super excited about. But anyway, we welcome you to the show both on YouTube and the audio podcast. Today, we're so excited you're here.
Yes.
Because we're going to be talking about some of our favorite picks in 2024 of campgrounds across the country.
Yeah, well, 2024 and before. It wasn't like we visited all these in 24.
Well, that's true. But these are our top picks for this year. Now, we should say that none of the campgrounds on this list have paid us any money. This is all 100% coming from campgrounds that we absolutely love. We're going to tell you what we love about them. There's things that we dislike about them. We're going to tell you about that as well. Yep. So, but anyway, so we're going to just dive in. There's no real reason to beat around the park.
Because there's no fun facts.
There's no fun facts.
And it's just Randy and I. You guys get just the two of us today.
But anyway, we're also having a few adult beverages.
We are. And Charlie, our golden doodle, is back here.
You can't see him on the camera, so
you can't see her. It's a her.
Okay,
she does not have an identity crisis.
Anyway, so these are in no particular order. These are just our favorite campgrounds. So let's talk about it. So why don't we go ahead and start off with you? You've got the first one. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. The first one is Mountain Falls, and this is in Lake Toxaway in North Carolina. And I really enjoyed this place, okay? This is one of these schwanky Motorcoach resorts. So, one, if you're staying there, you have to have a motor home. It is a place that they require it to be newer. It needs to be a certain year or newer. So don't pull in there with your Clark Griswold, that there.
10 years. I think it's 10 years.
RV.
It's got to be younger than 10 years.
Younger than 10 years, or you have to show pictures. If you've had an older coach and it's been beautifully maintained, they will allow that. You just have to send them pictures. But this place, so there are a lot, I think all of the lots are owned by individuals who then will rent them out. So some of them are just lots. Some of them are lots with coach houses. Some of them are lots with like outdoor kitchens and / living rooms. Some are beautifully decorated. Some are just plain lots. But when we stayed, we got a plain lot, but it was on the upper level. And I have never witnessed or seen more breathtaking mountain views than we did there on that lot.
Yeah. So the what she's referring to is you got the Smoky Mountains right there, and you actually drive your coach up to the top of a ridge, and you're overlooking all the ridges. Now there's I don't remember what they call it, but it's along the ridgeline. They've got, what do you think, about 8-10 sites up there along the ridge?
It was more than that. I'm looking at their video right now. There's probably a good...
Well, I'm talking about ones that face actually the mountainside.
Yeah, no.
Maybe
I mean,
more.
Look, there's probably 30 sites down there. But again, a lot of them have coach houses now. When we were there, the resort was still newer. And so folks had bought their land and then put in a pad and then later on have built coach houses.
Well, now we should say they refer to themselves as Mountain Falls Luxury Motorcoach Resort. I'll tell you what, we just had bought a Winnebago.
It wasn't it was the Fleetwood. It was the Pace Arrow. So we were balling. We had our Fleetwood Pace Arrow.
It was our first diesel pusher, so we thought we were big ballers.
We were so excited. We pulled in and it was like Prevost,
Newell,
Prevost, Marathon. I mean, and it was just, we're like, oh my gosh,
and
we're the poor kids.
The poor guy next to us had an Allegro bus, which is funny.
Because now we do.
But anyway, so again, it is a schwanky parks, but as far as mountain views, I'm sure there's a lot of beautiful campgrounds, but for today's podcast, it had the most beautiful views. Mountain views.
And amenities galore. I mean, this is a resort, so you're going to have swimming pools, tennis courts, pickleball, dog areas. A lot of the folks that live there or stay there a long time have golf carts they ride around on. It's very, very beautiful, but everybody was so incredibly nice. People were riding around on their golf carts in the evenings, and our neighbors were super sweet and wonderful. I think they even invited us over for dinner one night.
Yep,
we weren't able to do it, but the lots that you're able to rent are large, spacious. Again, if you get up on that ridge line, breathtaking views.
Yeah, and again,
but have to have a motorhome.
As you know, your motorhome, you just park it forward and you open up your, you don't open up, but you look out your windshield and you've got just these breathtaking views of the Smoky Mountains. It's just absolutely incredible. So they are running a special right now. This is we're taping this in November 20th.
November 20th.
They've got 25% off of all stays between through April 30th to 2025. And you got to use the code WinterFun as the promo code. You can go straight to their site, but that's a real fun place.
Yes, but hang on before you go rambling on to the next one. I already hear you're all speedy talking like, okay, let's go on. We got to move on. Yeah, stop it. Okay, so people are like, okay, this is great,
She's
right?
Brutal. She's on fire.
But he is he not, folks? So Lake Toxaway, you're probably like, what the heck is that? Where is that? So some of the things to do and why we went there is it's relatively close-ish. I want to say relatively to Biltmore, to the Biltmore Estate.
Yeah, it's like 100 miles.
No, it's not that far.
No,
because they even advertise it on their website on Mountain Falls. It's not horribly far, but there's hiking, there's fishing. They've got that cute little town at the bottom of the mountains there.
It was an adorable town. A couple great restaurants there. And a lot of good hiking. We hiked, if you remember.
We did a lot of hiking there. So there are things to do in and around that area. So check it out.
She's going to breeze right over the story how we ended up there. And I'm going to tell the story right now because she might not even remember.
We were going to go to Biltmore.
No, we were going to go to Biltmore, and I asked her, I don't want to stay in Asheville. There's really not that many great options, at least what we've found in Asheville. And so I'm like, look a little bit further out, maybe in the mountains somewhere. Well, she found this place, booked it, and we find out a little bit later that it's like 2.5 hours away from Biltmore.
It was like an hour 20
I
from
bet
Biltmore.
you gets that. We'll look that up.
We're going to look that up. You go on to your campground. I'm going to look this up. I'm Googling it.
All right, so this next one, we've mentioned this on several shows before, and it's probably getting redundant, and you're probably getting sick of hearing about it, but this is honestly one of my favorite campgrounds. This is just a local regional campground through Pima County, Arizona, and it is Gilbert Ray's Campground, and it sits in Arizona and Tucson, and it's amongst the saguaros. Did I say it right this time?
Saguaros.
We used to say saguaro.
Yep. No,
and then somebody corrected
G
us.
in Spanish is a huh.
Well,
it's a huh.
I didn't take Spanish, but anyway, saguaro cactuses, but it's an incredible place. First
of all, it is.
It's $35 a night.
Mm-hmm.
It's a regional park, I believe, is what they refer to it as. It's definitely not a state. It's Pima County. Anyway, it's a county park is what it is. But it's $35 a night. You have a maximum stay of 7 days. They can handle rigs up to 40. What did we have when we went there?
We had the Winnie Ray.
So it was 42 feet, 41 feet.
But the sites are limited. We actually recently just looked to try to get back in our new Allegro bus, which is 45 feet. And all of the big sites were taken. There's not that many sites that can accommodate bigger rigs. So we were trying to plan to go in February, late February, early March, and no go. They were already booked for big sites.
I think there are sites that can accommodate a 45-foot. It's just very, very limited.
Very limited. So you've got to way plan ahead.
Yeah, I think there was only, if I remember right, because they used to not have a reservation system.
Correct.
But they added that, so now you can reserve online. You used to have to wait this line, and they did a random selecting of people.
They're like, Bob,
But they told me there was only like 5 or 7 sites that could handle a 40-foot at that time.
So they're very limited. So if you have a smaller setup, score, because pretty much you can fit into just about every site. And they do have tent sites also.
Yeah, but the campground is beautiful. As I said, it's set inside of the cactus, inside of the, I'm not even saying it right.
Saguaro.
Surrounding the saguaro. You're right next to the Saguaro National Park. Mm-hmm. But, you have this, some of the sites, not all of them. We've been there 2 or 3 times, but our last site we had, we're surrounded by cactuses, and you cannot even see. Is it cacti or cactuses? Did I say that right?
I think they're both correct, actually. I think we looked it up. Cactuses and cacti are both correct.
Okay. Anyway, we're going to flash some different pictures up here, and if we have video, we'll get them up there. But you're surrounded by them. It's just beautiful. It's very dry. Of course, it's that Arizona dry. We were there in March, I think.
We were, because the last time we were there was COVID, so it was March 20, maybe like April 2020. So it was quiet because of that also, but a lot of the sites are very spaced out, a lot of cacti in between everything. We did lots of walks. We went to the Saguaro National Park there, the Tucson Studios that was nearby.
Yep, a lot of cool stuff to do.
The outdoor museum, yep. Natural History Museum was there. So a decent amount to do very, very close to the campground also without going into Tucson if you didn't want to go into Tucson.
Yeah, and then at night, the stars just light up here. I mean,
it was beautiful. You took star trail pictures from the outside of the RV.
I did. It was amazing. With the cactus in the front and then the stars in the back, it just took some amazing, amazing shots. We should note that this is not full hookups. You have electricity and water. Do you have water at the site?
No water at the sites. There are water spigots available, and there's a dump station available. So you have to make sure your rig is empty and full, appropriate tanks. But if you need to dump, which we didn't quite make it the 7 days. So we just had to obviously pack everything up, put the slides in, go to the dump station, dump. Yep. We filled up with fresh water and we were good to go again.
We made it like 6 days. It was like the night before we were leaving, we had to go dump.
It was like we weren't going to be able to use the rest.
Yeah,
I know,
it was crazy.
So full.
That was the longest we've ever, well, I guess you can't really call it boondocking because we did have electricity, but and you definitely will want to run your air condition in Tucson.
But
anyway, so your next one that we've been to so many times we could talk about.
Oh my gosh, it's
the
my
back of our
home
hand.
away
So why don't you tell us about the next one?
Okay, the next one is Boyd's Key West Campground. It's actually on Stock Island, and Stock Island is the teeny little island just north of Key West that's connected by a bridge that's about that long. No exaggeration. It's a tiny little bridge that connects the two islands. But Boyd's has literally become, and I know in my heart, my home away from home. It's like we go there, we know all the people, we know the campground, we just know everything about it. We've been doing it for years. But one thing I want to tell people, because I've heard this countless time from people, and it's very, very interesting. They're like, well, the sites are really small. Yeah. You're in Key West. Real estate in Key West is pretty much a precious commodity. So you don't go to Boyd's thinking you're going to be all spread out on this massive site. Sites are tight. They are close together. This is an old fishing campground. So I think your mom said she used to go down there back in the day and go fishing. I mean, it was something like you could get a campsite down there for like $10 a night. So it's an old fishing campground that is now moved into an RV campground. So they had to accommodate for that. So sites are smaller, sites are tight. They can accommodate big rigs. They can accommodate up to 45 feet, but there's not a ton of sites that can accommodate that. Tent campers, I think, have the best views in the entire park because they all sit out on the peninsula. So you're surrounded by water on all sides. You're either going to get the sunrise or the sunset. Amenity-wise, not a ton. They do have a swimming pool, not huge, but it is handy to have on those days where it does get super hot. Even in December and January, we laid out at the pool there. They do a lot of activities out of their front kind of game area, office area. They've got a great store for those who love to shop, like me. So yeah, it's a great place. Plus, you have the convenience of being right there pretty much in Key West, and Ubers are plentiful. If you've got a bike or a scooter, we used to do that. We would take our scooters into town. So, yeah, just very accessible place.
Yeah, Boyd's been around. I was looking this up since 1961. Wow. So they've been around a long, long time. But, as Caly said, it's not really so much about how beautiful the site is. And there are some RV sites that have water views.
Yes.
There's a handful of them that do. You're right there on the water. They've got a dock. You can actually bring your boat. They've got boat slips you can rent, all that. We've taken our boat a couple times down there, and it's a wonderful experience.
And fishing galore. So, I mean, if you are into fishing, people have brought like smaller inflatable boats that have gone out like into the mangroves there because it's very accessible by water, and have gone fishing and brought that back, and they've got a fish cleaning station right there on site. So yeah, and then all the pelicans show up, which is so cool, and the iguanas. There's like this little iguana island right there out by the fishing shack thing.
Yep, yeah. That's right. So
Yes.
it's all about the proximity to Key West, because you can take a bike, you can even walk to downtown if you really were a good walker. I think it's probably about 4 or 5 miles,
it's not
maybe.
too bad.
But we take scooters, we've taken a bike down there.
We've taken Ubers, all of the above. Be prepared to pay. Okay, this is the best possible weather you are going to find anywhere in the contingent United States. In like December, January, February, March. So you are going to pay a hefty price for it. They do offer discounts if you stay longer, though.
Yep, that's right. So the next one, moving on, is my pick, and you've heard us talk about this before many times as well. I hate to beat a dead horse, so to speak.
But why not? Because we're beating it for a reason.
Now, in all fairness and complete transparency, we should let you know that this next campground did pay to have some advertising space in the magazine. That's not why we're putting it on the podcast.
No, because we had stayed there two or three times prior to this.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, we stayed there 3 times prior to them advertising in the magazine. So we absolutely love it. And that's and again, this is not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but it's Liberty Harbor RV Park in Jersey City, New Jersey. And again, this is I'm just going to be frank.
Urban camping.
This is a parking lot with electric hookup, and that's it, right?
Yeah, it's an asphalt parking lot with electric and water, and they have a dump station on site. And folks, I am talking the first time we went, okay, and they have made some changes since the first time. So the very, very first time we went, all these electrical lines were hanging overhead. We're like, oh my gosh, they have since, I guess, buried those. So the electrical lines are gone. But when you put out your slide, we were 5, maybe 6 feet is pushing it from our neighbor's slide.
Yeah, they're really tight. And I don't want us to sound like we're dogging Liberty Harbor because they're not. It's all about the proximity to the city,
right?
Because
again, you're not going there. At least we didn't. I mean, you're going to experience New York City and all that New York has to offer. You're not going there to sit outside of your RV and have a campfire and grill some meat.
Right.
I mean, that's in my whole reasoning. That's not why you go to New York City.
This is urban camping, and you are. It's just really a cool experience. Now,
it is.
There's going to be some people I know who listen to this podcast like, I would never do that. I get that. I don't agree with that, but I get that. Right. But there are some people that are on the fence, like maybe we should. If you look at hotel prices in New York City now, they're $600-$700 a night.
Right.
Why not take your own RV there, park it in
for
Jersey City?
$100 a night.
Yeah, it's $100 a night, maybe a little bit more, give or take some. Check prices to verify, but it was $100 a night. We stayed there. You walk a couple blocks, you hop on the ferry, you ferry over, and you're right down in the financial district of
you're
Manhattan.
In the heart of the city. And what I loved about it, because the very first time Randy ever took me to New York City, we actually stayed in a hotel. At that point we had our little guy teardrop travel trailer, and that wasn't. I just didn't want to stay a long time or go far away in that. It was just too small. So we stayed in a hotel, and it was very, very pricey. And then the hotel wasn't the most spectacular, amazing hotel. It was very old, and I remember how small that bathroom was. Oh my gosh, do you remember that? It was like the size of a coat closet. And so we paid a lot of money and didn't even have all of our own stuff. Had to fly into the city.
Right.
So to be able to take our own RV for a fraction of that cost per night, have a nice spacious RV and bathroom and bed
and all
of our stuff and
right.
our animals too. There's a lot of great places to walk your dogs.
We would literally spend all day in the city, come home, take a shower, get cleaned up, put on some going out clothes, and then go back and go to the theater. We saw Lion King.
We did.
Or we'd go out to a nice dinner.
We met friends that
met
live,
friends downtown Manhattan. Yeah. Yep. So it's just really just a really neat experience. There's a lot of great history in New York City, and I enjoyed going around seeing a lot of these historical places in the city.
Yeah, especially down in Manhattan, which I was shocked because I didn't know that there was that kind of history there. There's so many tours you can do. So don't go to New York City feeling so overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, where do I even start? Just find a tour company. We did the New York Pass, which is a great way to see the city because you buy the pass and then do a lot of things associated with the pass. But we've done tours. I mean. Yeah. It's a great experience. New York City is a ton of fun. It can be anything you want it to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So if it's on your radar, definitely take a look at it. It's if you're thinking about going to a big city, do it. I mean, I know this is not traditional camping like you would imagine with campfires and trees and birds and stuff like that.
You're going to hear none of that, but you are going to get multi-million-dollar views of Manhattan. Because in Jersey, that's what these people are paying for their condos to view Manhattan, and you get it for a little over $100 a night.
Actually, the first time we were there, we had the Statue of Liberty out our side
door
window.
Yeah, we could look out the door window.
We were watching TV one night. We got home after a long night, and we were tired. We wanted to unwind, watch some TV. We were sitting there watching TV. We looked out our door window,
and there she is,
and there's Lady Liberty holding everything up, and I'm like,
it was
how incredible is that?
It was incredible. I took a picture of it because I'm like, where in the world other than New York City can you sit? Oh my goodness, Charlie's having a dream behind me.
All right, so moving on. So again, check out. Oh my gosh, check out Liberty Harbor.
Squirrel.
I was trying to figure out what she was doing.
RV. I know I think she had a dream and then started coughing.
All right, so let's take everybody down to Florida for your next pick.
Yes. Okay, so we've talked about this one before, but I got to bring it up again. And this is Sugar Sand Beach RV Resort in Matlacha. It looks like Matlacha when you spell it out, but it's pronounced Matlacha. Matlacha.
That's right.
And it's a tiny little island in between Pine Island and Cape Coral. So it's right there. It's small little area. Sugar Sand only has about 11 or 12 sites. When we stayed there, how it works is you make the reservation, you pay in advance, and then when you show up, you pick your site that's open. And so when we showed up, it just so happened that the best RV site in the park for Class A's or drivables was open. And so we nosed into our site overlooking the bay for some spectacular views. And I have pictures of it where it literally looked like looking out the windshield, all you could see was water. It was just incredible. The sad part is that our trip got cut short because a tropical storm rolled in. This is so funny.
We got to tell the story.
We got to tell the whole story. Okay, first let me finish on Sugar Sand. So amenity wise, there's nothing. They have a little tiny little clubhouse where they have kind of like a communal kitchen, a communal grill, that type of thing. And I believe there might be a bathhouse there. I think a bathroom and a shower in there.
There's a pier you can walk out and stuff like that. So,
but no pool, no mini golf, no dog parks, none of that. Like it's a small little chunk of property.
I should bring this out in full transparency. So one of the coolest things about this place was we had the best spot in the park. We lucked out and got this spot. You can only do it with a motorhome, as she said. You pull forward and your nose out into the bay, and all you see is water. You have no idea anybody's behind you, and that's gonna fall into our story here in a minute.
The story next.
But also, what made the whole experience cool is Matlacha is such an adorable town.
Yes.
There's a couple good restaurants there. It's small town. It's just really a cool place. Now, they did get devastated by a hurricane a few years ago, but I understand that they're back up and running, and and they're getting everything back to normal. But so our story kind of goes, there was a tropical storm brewing out, and we knew it was coming, but didn't think much about it. And we were inside our coach working.
Yeah, so we're in the coach working, and we put our super slide in. Because obviously that has the biggest slide topper, and the winds were kind of high, and we didn't want that getting ripped off. So we had put the super slide in, and I'm working, and my desk at the time looked out the window. And again, we're right by the seawall, so I could see the water and the waves hitting it. Randy laid down behind me to take a nap.
It was a long day. I was like, I'm taking a nap.
And the satellite was still working. So the TV's on, and we're like, all right, the satellite's working. We're all good. And, every now and then I'd look out the window, and I'm like, okay, I can see the water splashing up near the seawall, but I think we're okay. We're okay. Because I kept looking out. Everything looked okay. Well, then I decided to stick my head outside. And everything behind us in this little RV park was already flooded by quite a few inches of water.
Yeah, it was about 2 to 3 inches going across our tire, and it was making its way because we were right at the water line.
Yeah,
it was making its way to the other 11 sites, but
but the other 11 sites were already flooded.
Well, there was one guy. There was
one guy.
Everybody
left.
Was gone except one other guy. He was taking his trash. He was hooking up.
Yeah, and he was like, "You guys might want to get out of here," and I'm like, where's everybody going? Like, where do we go? Because I realize now everything behind us is flooding. And he said, we are at low tide. High tide's coming. The road is already flooded over. You guys need to get out of here. We're all heading over to, I think it was like the Moose Lodge or something, because one of the ladies that stayed in the RV park was a Moose Lodge member. And so literally so we hurried up, and then we realized, oh my gosh, the water got a lot higher. We happened to be sitting on this little high spot. So it was very deceiving.
We've got some videos of this whole time. I'm gonna see if I can dig them out of my phone and have Bo put these up.
Because when we drove out of the road, I mean, the water was probably a good 8 inches deep.
It wasn't that far.
It was deep.
It wasn't that far. It was deep, but it wasn't that far.
It was almost traumatizing. Almost.
Yeah, that was a deal kill for me when they said we're at low tide now. The water was already coming over. Like we got to get out of here.
We got to go. So we got out. We did stay at the Moose Lodge. Funny story about that. They let all of us from the campground stay in the Moose Lodge parking lot. It was ladies' night. We opted. Do you remember that? It was ladies' night. We didn't go in. But we had just bought some lobster tail earlier that day. So I literally made filet and lobster tail in the RV with the generator going in the Moose Lodge parking lot. That was our story.
Classy.
It was so classy.
It was classy date. So
it was.
All right, moving on. We're going to take you out to South Carolina, and this is a fun place. Now, I know a lot of people how they feel about either you love Myrtle Beach or you hate Myrtle Beach, and we got to tell you, we've got a friend vacation every year that they all go out to Myrtle Beach, and we happened to pick PirateLand out there one year, and
our friend's dad
lives right next to this.
It's actually Colin, the designer of our magazine.
Yep.
I mean, he's our dude. It's his dad lives in the neighborhood next to PirateLand. So we're like, well, let's stay at PirateLand, and then we would go out in the afternoons, and we'd all meet up on the beach and be merry.
All right, so let me clarify this for everything. What is... This is a kid's paradise.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So if you're older, retired,
you might not enjoy it.
You probably don't want to go there because there's thousands and thousands and thousands of kids. But it sits right on the beach on Myrtle Beach. So you have your own, I don't want to call it private beach because it's a public beach, but you have your own beach that you can go to. And so the location's amazing. You could just walk from your RV straight out to the beach and enjoy the water and all that.
And they have everything on site too.
But that's what I'm getting at. So this is like an all-inclusive resort. You've got restaurants, you've got stores,
food trucks,
you've got
stores,
everything you want.
Ice cream, candy.
Yep.
Lazy river, kids pool, mini golf.
They rent golf carts there. In fact, they have a golf cart parade every single night where the kids they decorate the golf carts with different like shark floats and all these different things, lights and music, and this happens every single night. But they also have a ton of great amenities. They got a putt-putt course. They've got a big pool. They got a lazy river. They've got what else they got? They got a ton of other things.
Well, I just mentioned a lot of them. So they've got the ice cream shop.
Yep.
They have a popcorn like trailer. They do slushies.
Yep.
They have different food trucks that come in and out.
Right.
So one night you might get barbecue. Another night you might get fried chicken.
Right.
They've got a really nice like souvenir store and regular store there on site. They've got laundry facilities.
Yep.
And it's just done up nicely. They have rental cabins. So part of the RV park is the RV park with rental cabins, and then on the outskirts are those little, what would you call those? They're like people can buy lots and put.
They're essentially mobile homes that they put on there.
They call them something else.
Vacation home.
Yeah,
I mean,
vacation homes. So what's great is like walking is amazing. I mean, you can get so many steps in with your dog.
Just going to the beach.
Just walking around the whole park.
But you know what's cool about it? The infrastructure, I do feel like it's getting a little old.
It's a little
the salt
outdated.
water and the sun wears down all that stuff, the paint and everything.
And there's not a whole lot of paved sites. Most of the sites are on grass. This last time, unfortunately, we didn't realize we parked on top of a very large ant hill and got infested with ants, like bad infested with ants.
It took us like a month to get all the ants out. But yeah. So this is a really if you've got kids, 100%. This is an amazing place to go.
Oh yeah, the kids will love it.
We actually thought about taking the grandkids there because it is all themed for pirates. The putt-putt's all pirate theme. The pool's pirate theme. They've got a splash. I forgot about the splash pool
because they just added that.
Right, right. That's there. So anyway, really cool place. Definitely check it out if you've got a family you want to go out there. Again, if you're retired, you want. Stay at a 55 and older community. This is not your place to go.
Yeah, stay away
There's
from
other
PirateLand.
places to go. So, anyway, moving on to your next one. We're going to go up to Marquette, Michigan.
Well, yeah. I was like, what? I was looking further down the
You're looking at the wrong list.
Okay. So, Rippling River Resort in Marquette, Michigan. The park itself, it's very close to a ski area. So it's my understanding the park is open all year round. I don't know about the RV sites, though. I do know that they have like rental cabins and other things available there that are open year round because there's a lot of trails for not only like hiking and walking, but cross-country skiing, fat tire biking. They have a ski slope area very nearby. We stayed during the summertime. And this was years ago. What I loved about this place and why I was like, this is amazing.
The wine, let me guess.
The wine. As I'm sitting here drinking a glass of wine, is we come into their front store to check in, their front office, and it's also like a little wine. There's just wine everywhere. Bottles of wine to purchase. And I'm talking bottles and bottles and bottles. So the owner is a big wino, very into wine, and that's where all the wine comes from. But it's wines of all kinds and beautifully displayed. It's not like 4 different kinds. I'm talking hundreds of different types of wines. And they have just a beautiful, beautiful there in their front room, like a big, huge stone fireplace and couches that you can grab a bottle of wine, crack it open, sit there and enjoy that. Outside, they do bring live music in, and it kind of sits on this little babbling brook, as I like to say, or the rippling river, one and the same. But you can sit out there, and they have like a pretty little gazebo area, and areas to sit like on the deck or, a little bit down closer to the river. The RV sites were very nice. They had some that were more secluded in different areas of the park. They had more that were kind of nearby. They had a hot tub. Do you remember? Because we ended up getting in because it was really chilly one night because it is Michigan.
When they have a communal fire pit too.
Yep, big, huge communal fire pit. And I think they had like an on-site restaurant that was seasonal that would serve like heavy hors d'oeuvres, like kind of bar food type things.
Well, and also, if you remember, one of the biggest things for me was all the trails that went off the.
Yeah.
You literally could leave your RV and start hiking. There was hiking trails that went off.
We did. We
took the dogs with us.
Yep. We took the girls. That was Bella Boo and Zoe, and we took them back there through the trails, which they absolutely loved. So. Yeah, it was very handy. So you can literally, like, if you're into like mountain biking or cross country skiing, and want to camp outside of summer, you can do that here in the wintertime and have access to all of these trails. Like, they were huge mountain biking trails, weren't they?
Yep, they were.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I really enjoyed that place, and probably mostly for the massive wine selection.
Yep, that's exactly.
But hey, to each their own.
So now we're going to take you all the way out to La Push, Washington, and this is one of my favorites now. This is an incredible place, and I don't even know how to pronounce it. That's the funny thing. So
it's Quileute.
Quileute?
Quileute.
But it's spelled Q-U-I-L-E-U-T-E. Quileute. So, and that's the name of the Quileute is the name of the Indian tribe out there. Now, this is out in the Olympic Peninsula of Washington State. And it's in a town called La Push, and this is an absolutely beautiful campground.
For all of you, oh my gosh, I just totally lost my train of thought. What was that? Those daggone movies, with Kristen Bell and the vampire.
Oh, the
what is it called?
I don't remember.
Whatever. Okay. Anyway, that takes place out there. So.
Well, that's where it's supposedly. I don't think it was.
It was filmed.
I don't know if it was filmed there or not, but the vampire movie. What is it called?
Twilight.
Twilight. There you go.
There it is. Yeah.
But anyway, this campground sits right on the Pacific Ocean, and when you look out, you see the sea stacks. You have amazing sunsets. And honestly, the price, I think last time I checked, was $70 or $80 a night.
Yeah.
So it's really, really inexpensive. It's probably some of the best views you'll ever see as far as sunset and oceans. And
you just kind of feel like you're at the end of the world. I think that's what I liked about it. Because
the end of the
end of the United
States.
The
end of the United States is like a few miles away.
You can't go any further. So it was just, it's really where you go to totally check out, because you are so far from people, from civilization, but you're still at a beautiful campground and resort. So you've got some of those amenities there, but you're not in the middle of it's not like Liberty Harbor next to a massive city. Again, Quileute is where you go to check out and get away from it all.
Right. It's just, again, I don't know. There's actually a hotel right there, and it's called the Quileute Oceanside Resort, but beside the resort is the actual
campground.
The campground.
And then they recently opened, because I just saw on their website, they recently opened the Riverview RV Park, which is about 6 miles from La Push. And so they just opened a second campground on the tribal grounds.
Yeah, there you go. So again, very, very beautiful. Just Google it and check it out. But
Google.
All right, so now we're going to take everything out to two different. We're going to talk about two different ones. One's in Florida, one's in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. But we're going to talk about Margaritaville.
Margaritaville. So let's start at the Camp Margaritaville RV Resort and Cabana Cabins in Auburndale, Florida. And we actually were just there last year. We stayed there for New Year's Eve.
We did a full podcast with them.
We did.
And it was wonderful. Now, they didn't pay to be on the show or anything like that. We just love the place, and that's why we have them on this list.
And they did comp our stay. They did. We got to mention that. So they did comp our stay.
It did make the stay nicer.
It did.
but I would have paid for sure.
I would have paid.
Yeah.
So this, what I loved about it is it's still under the Margaritaville name. It's still a family-owned and operated resort. So you have that family that's very passionate about it. So it used to be a blueberry farm. That same family that ran the blueberry farm was also into hospitality and switched it over to a campground, which then became the Margaritaville. But like with the Margaritaville name, anything and everything you want to do is located there on site. So not only is it an adult's dream come true, because they have tiki bars and alcoholic beverages flowing everywhere. They also have tons of kids' activities.
Yeah.
So it was great because the bar was located right next to where all the kids do the activities. So you'd see all the parents chilling at the bar and all the kids are over here playing gaga ball.
Yeah.
Which was great. And then the swimming pool was right there. So it was all very centrally located. On-site food, on-site restaurants, on-site activities, dog washes, which I was so appreciative of. I did take Charlie to a dog wash and gave her a bath. Dog runs, dog parks. They had, I can't even remember. I think they had like 4 dog parks, something like that. Basketball, pickleball.
This is another place that when you show up, you're not leaving.
No,
you're going to just stay in there.
Stay there.
You should have no reason to leave. In fact, we noticed early on that there were a lot of RVs coming in, like RVs, like Class C's and even in Class A's without pulling any toes.
Yeah, because.
And I asked the general manager, and she's like, "Oh, that's pretty common. People just come in here and stay. They eat here. They do everything there. There's a couple restaurants and everything."
And it was cool because we talked to a lot of people, and there was a lot of relatively locals. Maybe an hour away, hour and a half away. We talked to somebody New Year's Eve that was at our table. where they come in several times a year and do long weekends.
They're from Washington State.
No, these folks were in
there was
Florida.
another couple that came in from Washington State. They said they've been there a couple times.
Yeah, but these closer folks, I mean, they celebrated like her 50th birthday there, and they would come in for like football games and do tailgatings. And they have, so not only do they have just like regular RV sites, and one thing that was so amazing, no grass, folks. It's all AstroTurf.
Yes.
It is none of that dead little grass getting stuck to your dog's paws, getting tracked all over the RV. All around the site were crushed seashells and AstroTurf.
That's right.
It was incredible. I loved it.
Yep.
But then they have upgraded sites where you can get like a little outdoor like cabana, like a little outdoor kitchen. And then they have cabana cabins that you can rent as well. So they said that they will do like weddings. They have weddings there because it's a beautiful location. And so people will come in that are RVers and stay, and people that aren't RVers will stay in the cabana cabins. And talk to several people in the cabana cabins are like, oh, this was so great. This was really close to where I was going anyway. I decided to stay here instead of a hotel. I'm like, yeah.
And they also have a side note. One thing I really enjoyed, they had a real nice bike trail right outside. You literally just leave the park and maybe
hang a left.
Maybe a quarter mile down the road, there's a bike trail there. So it's pretty cool. It's the end of it.
With a huge dog park there, too.
Right. So now let's move up to Margaritaville in Pigeon Forge, which we've stayed at several times.
Quite a few times.
And we absolutely love that. Margaritaville too.
So that Margaritaville has a big lodge, and so that's kind of what's different about them than the one down in Auburndale. The one there in Pigeon Forge has a big lodge. So recently, back in April, we had friends that I had reconnected with a friend of mine from over 20 years. We finally got to reconnect. Her and her husband are not RVers. So they stayed in the lodge and we stayed in the RV park. But, same thing, on-site bar, on-site restaurant, swimming pool, hot tub, live music, game room, arcade room. You name it, it's there. We took our grandson back because we're like, this is great. He loves to swim. We can stay someplace nice. It's all localized. We're in Pigeon Forge if we want to get out and do something. But if not, we just stay on site. And he was like, pool and hot tub. He would be like, Pa B, let's go to the pool. Let's go to the hot tub. Let's go to the pool.
Let's
go to
the
hot tub. Oh my gosh, every day.
He wore me out.
He did. It was so cute. So it was just, it's a beautiful, and the whole Margaritaville, they just do it right. It's impeccably clean, beautifully maintained, amenities galore, wonderful hospitality, and that's why I love going back to those places when I want that kind of experience. Because sometimes I want to be away from it all, but when I want that kind of experience, those are the places I want to go to.
Well, and what's cool about that specific one is it's like the last RV resort before you go into Smoky Mountain National Park, so you're right there. Anybody that's been to the Pigeon Forge, Sevierville area, that's a busy, a lot of traffic going down there, and it could take you a long time to get into Smoky Mountain Park. However, with Margaritaville, you're pretty much at the last exit before you go in there, and so that to me was one of the cool things.
And there's a great pancake house right at the bottom of the hill. So because again, they have an on-site restaurant, they have a couple of restaurants. So they're really good. They have specials running all the time. You can get coupons for their on-site restaurant. But if you want to experience one of the, Pigeon Forge pancake houses, all you literally have to do is drive down to the bottom of the hill before you hit the main road. Boom, there's a pancake house there. I took my grandson.
Definitely worth the extra money, especially if you've got kids. Actually, both of them felt very kid-friendly. I felt like kids would be...
In both places, but they're adult friendly too, because one time we went with our grandson and had a wonderful kid experience.
Right.
And another time we were all adults and had a wonderful adult experience. So I both are easily had.
That's right. Okay, so the next one we're going to take you down to Florida, and I should say that they did pay for some advertising inside of our magazine, and we've had them on the podcast, but we really do love them. Now this is a very tiny RV park, and it's Pine Island RV in Marina. It sits on Lake George, and it's in Seville, Florida. And I really wanted to mention them because this is kind of one of those campgrounds when you want to get away, right? This is truly a get away from it all and be disconnected from the world. So,
and surprisingly, in the heart of Florida, so you're not far from Ocala and all of these big cities. But when you get there, you literally look around and go, there's no way this is Florida. There's no way, because this should be super busy and commercialized, and it's not.
Right. We went down there. We did not stay at the resort, but we spent a whole day there. We met with the owners, Ebo and Amanda, and they're just really good, solid people. Yes. There's the stunning views. We're going to have some pictures, and if we can get any videos, we'll have those popping up on YouTube here for you. So
great fishing.
Yeah, there's beautiful sunsets, great fishing,
and there's springs. So the springs.
Oh, not Crystal Springs.
It was Silver Springs.
Silver Springs
are across the lake, across Lake George. That if you happen to have a boat there, because they do have a marina there at Pine Island, you can take your own boat, or you can just drive around and go see the springs where manatee like to hang out. But the fishing is incredible on the lake. The lake is huge. And what I just really liked about it, again, is it was one of these places you go to get away from it all.
Yes.
But it was still very much a sense of community there. They had a great little, like I always call it the front store, but they had a little store with all the things that you need. But then they had a great communal sitting area. They sold alcohol on site. I remember it being in their coolers. Yeah, and they had games that you could play. They had a billiard table there in the main room.
So this is not. I don't see this place as a place that you're going to go to get a lot of amenities. They frankly don't have a lot of amenities.
I mean, that was it. That was their list of amenities. A shower house.
Right. There's no pool. There's nothing like that. You're sitting on a lake. You've got a good view. This is a place you want to disconnect.
Yeah. The views are spectacular. Those sunsets are ridiculous. And I hope these pictures are popping up right now, because OMG, the sunsets there just are otherworldly.
Yeah, and it's also got that old Florida feel to it. And there's something about that. Some of you might know what I'm talking about, some of you might not, but it's just old Florida and just a cool area. There's a lot of side-by-side trails in the area. You're not too far from St. Augustine. You're not too far from Ocala. You're kind of an hour and a half drive from even Orlando, I think, too, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, a lot of different...
and they said Daytona. They would have a lot of people do Daytona for the bike races and for Bike Week, and just come up here and stay and then go to Daytona. I think Amanda said it was roughly a little over an hour away.
Right. And last time I checked in with Amanda, she said they do have boat rentals now. That was something they did not have available when we were there.
Cool.
But now they have boat rentals. You can rent a boat and actually take it out onto Lake George, which is a beautiful, beautiful lake. So again, and you can't meet two nicer people than Ebo and Amanda. They were both just amazing people, and we really enjoyed our time down there. So now there's also some. We're going to move on, but we've got some honorable mentions that we want to mention.
We do.
We're not going to go into maybe as in depth in these, but one I want to mention for those folks that are going up to Alaska, Homer Spit Campground. If you've been to Homer, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So this is a campground that sits right out on the spit. Around the sound there, and there's bald eagles in the campground and just lots of wildlife. You can sometimes even see whales and different things like that. Just absolutely beautiful. I have not stayed there, but I've seen the campground. I've walked it. Know exactly where it's at. So, and another one that we love, taking us back to Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, Creek Fire.
Savannah is one of my favorite cities, but
we were
Creek
just
Fire,
there. We were just in Savannah last week.
Eating at the Pirate House.
I know.
We love the Pirate House. If you've not ate at Pirate House in Savannah,
gosh,
eat there.
it. And I just had their world-famous honey pecan fried chicken. And I have to say, it was delicious, but you have to like sweet stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of like fried chicken with this pecan honey maple glaze on top.
Get their soup.
And oh my gosh, what
was that, crab bit?
She crab.
Sea crab, yep.
Yeah, anything there is amazing. But Creek Fire is a beautiful, beautiful resort. All kinds of amenities galore. All kinds. Lazy river, splash pad, workout facility, on-site restaurant, food truck, beautiful front area, communal fireplace and fire pits, dog parks, playground. I mean, you name it, it is there. It is a beautiful, beautiful resort.
Yep. Now moving on to Brunswick, Georgia. This is one that Cally's dad lives in Brunswick, and so we stayed here many times. It's Blythe Island State Park.
Actually, I'm sorry, I wrote it down.
I was going to say it's regional park, right?
It's a regional park, but it's on a pretty huge swath of land. lots of live oak trees dripping in that Spanish moss. Huge, long RV sites for the pull through sites. Everything's pretty separated. It's pretty undeveloped in that they haven't ripped down the trees. So if you need satellite, like we do for working,
you don't want to stay here.
It's not going to work for you.
Because when I think of Blythe Island, I think of true camping. When you picture camping amongst the trees, campfire and all that. That's this place. But you're still in the heart of Brunswick, which is really cool. Within a 5-minute drive, you're in the heart of Brunswick.
You're back into the city and in the thick of everything. They have these cute little bunny rabbits that run around everywhere because somebody one day, they told us, dropped off a couple of bunny rabbits, literally just left them and ran. And bunnies do what bunnies do, and they flourished, and now there's little bunnies everywhere, and they're well taken care of. But it's comical because they like to taunt the dogs and sit outside your site and just stare at you, and they'll take little goodie treats from you. But it's a fun place.
And because it's a local regional park, I think it's $40 a night.
Yeah,
it's super
it was
cheap.
super cheap. They have a boat launch there, so if you have your own boat and are into fishing, they have a boat launch. They have like a little on-site lake with a little private beach, so that you can swim if you wanted to, walking paths, a great little regional park.
Right. The next one is going out to Las Vegas, and this is one we stayed for about 4 or 5 days when we were visiting Vegas, and that's the Las Vegas RV Resort. And think of it, it's schwanky.
It's schwanky.
It's very schwanky.
They had a lot of rules.
A lot of rules.
Because it was very schwanky.
Remember we had our pet fence out and they yelled at us because it was too long.
They brought a notice. You can have a pet fence, but it had to be like only so many panels.
They actually brought a tape measure out and measured how many panels we had. You could only have a certain size, which that just bothers me. Like, really,
I'm
why?
like, my dog is bigger than these panels. They're like, sorry, ma'am. Can't
I'm
have
sorry. Is
panels.
there any other RVers out there like me? Like, what? First of all, I kind of understand the dog fence thing
because
for mowing, and then people that would just leave their dogs outside, and then there's some liability there too.
Or people that are like, they take up every flipping square inch with their doggy fence.
Right. Kind of like us.
Kind of like us, exactly.
Ours is
We're
just
those
the
people.
whole length, all 45 feet.
We do. We're like, oh, we are touching your poo pipe. My bad.
But they literally sent us they put us a pink slip on our windshield and said that we need to take like 3 or 4 of the panels down. It was too much. But anyway, really close to Vegas, quick Uber drive. It's schwanky, got all the pools, all the amenities.
Oh yeah, it was fun. It was so fun to be in Vegas with our RV.
Right.
So
and then another one going down to Fiesta Key. Now this is closer to Marathon in that area, so about 50-60 miles from Key West, and that's Fiesta Key RV Resort. Now this is an Encore campground, if I remember right.
Yep. It's Encore, and Fiesta Key is the key. So Fiesta Key RV Resort is Fiesta Key.
There's nothing but the RV resort.
Fiesta Key. But they are self-sufficient too. So they had an on-site bar and restaurant. They've got a boat launch. They have a marina. They have their own beach, swimming pool, swimming area for the ocean part. The sites are very, very tight. So this man over here is a flipping amazing driver when it comes to this RV, because I looked at this and I'm like, there's no way he's getting it in there. And he got it in there.
Tight.
It was tight. So, and people come out and they're like, let me move my truck, let me move my car, let me move this. We're going to guide, because the sites are very, very tight. I thought they were maybe looking at expanding some of the sites and making them a little bit bigger. I don't know. We haven't been there in a couple of years. But beautiful sunsets. Everybody gathers out kind of on their little peninsula there and watches the sunset every night. So people come out with their glasses of wine and enjoys the sunset, and it's beautiful. It's breathtaking.
A lot of fun. Another honorable mention we just left is Columbia Falls RV Resort out in Columbia Falls, Montana.
Yes.
This is just outside of Glacier National Park. We spent a month there. Really enjoyed it. There's not a ton of amenities there, but the whole cool thing about it is you're 20-minute drive to the park, but you're also in the small, cute, quaint
Columbia
town.
Falls.
Columbia Falls. So very easy to get to. The rates are really good.
Very
they were amazing.
Reasonable. Yeah, I mean, you can literally walk up because you're kind of sitting ever so slightly below historic downtown Columbia Falls. And we did. I mean, we walked our dogs up the hill into Columbia Falls, restaurants, bars, coffee shops everywhere. Oh my gosh, it was a coffee lover's dream come true. I mean, if you want coffee, go to this area in Montana because there's coffee shops everywhere.
Yeah, so the closer you get to Glacier, as you can imagine, the more expensive the RV parks get. In fact, there's a KOA right there, right outside of the West Gate, and it's super expensive. I think it was like $200 and something a night, which is just
Batman.
You're getting crazy expensive when summertime in the heat of the moment of the height of the moment was wrong. The height of the tourist season. So
I broke out in song.
So if you're willing to drive 20 minutes, you're going to save yourself a ton of money. And the people there at Columbia Falls RV Park are amazing.
Wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful people.
And they do have a couple of cabins as well.
Right. The last one is it's been a few years since we stayed this, but we really enjoyed the experience, and that's Yellowstone Grizzly RV Park. This is in West Yellowstone, Montana. Yeah. It was a really cool park. It was very swanky, very kid-friendly, but you're right outside of the West Gate.
Yes.
The only thing that we didn't like about it is there was traffic every single day trying to get into Yellowstone.
I know you said that. My complaint, because I'm the one that hooks up everything when we arrive.
Right.
So I do all that. My complaint was their power tower and water tower was so close to the RV that
we couldn't open our door.
We couldn't open the doors all the way. The slide, we had to strategically place everything because of where the slide came out. It was so close. So that was my one complaint about them. I'm like, oh, come on, guys. You needed to design this a little bit better, get it a little bit further away from the RV because it was literally right there under the slide. So, but the sites were very flat. They were concrete. Y'all know I love a flat concrete site. It just makes us happy campers, literally.
And it was a short walk to the little town of West Yellowstone. West Yellowstone, and that was just a cool, quaint little town.
Cute. I mean, restaurants and shopping. And even though there was traffic to get into Yellowstone every day, I felt like from the side that we were on, it wasn't bad.
Right.
We never had to wait for more than 30 minutes. I mean, if it was 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes tops got in. So
yeah, that's true.
And there were hiking paths off of that RV park too. Do you remember that? They were
I do.
I think there were more snowmobile type paths in the wintertime, but obviously open during the summer for walking. And we took the dogs back there and walked them. Mm-hmm.
So that wraps this podcast up. Please let us know if you're on YouTube. Please let us know down in the comments some of your favorite.
Yes,
if there's one that you highly recommend, let us know because we will go out there
because we're full timers now and we need places to go.
Yeah, we need places to go. We need places to feature in the magazine. We've got 27, 28 riders all over the country. We can send one of them out to them and maybe cover that in the magazine or here on the podcast. So. Anyway, if you're listening to the audio, you can feel free to email us some of your favorite picks. We would love to read, where you're staying now or one of the ones that you love. And you can do that at publishers with an S at rvdestinationsmagazine.com. But anyway, we'd like to thank everybody for coming out. You want to take us out?
Yes, I shall.
Do that.
I shall take us out. I want to thank all of you out there for joining us in here today in our beautiful new coach. I'm very excited about it still. So thank you. It's only a week and a half old. So pretty excited. So thank you all for joining us in here today, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the RV Destinations podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. And don't forget that we are now out on YouTube. So anytime you want to see our happy, shiny faces, you just get out there. Be sure to smash that subscribe button so that you are notified anytime we put out new content. And we just really appreciate you guys. Seriously, from the bottom of our heart, we totally appreciate you and all that you're doing for us and helping our dreams come true. So thank you. Thank you for joining us today.
Be safe.
Safe travels, y'all.